Another development we saw this week is the United States and Ukraine signed that long anticipated minerals deal. And we saw that really break down in that fiery meeting between Zelensky and Trump at the White House back in February. Both sides touted this as a victory. What does this deal do for the negotiations and the war at large?
Well, it was a big deal. And obviously, 2 months after their infamous Oval Office debacle, the U.S. and Ukraine announced, as we know at this point on Wednesday, that they had finally struck this long-awaited minerals deal. The agreement is most likely going to get ratified by the Ukrainian parliament, the Verkhovna Rada, very soon. So there's no reason for us to think that something is going to change on that front, which I do think that this is actually good news. But we should note that in terms of this deal, that's, sort of a more balanced, the terms that are more balanced in the initial U.S. proposals, what we saw initially from the United States was seen by Ukraine as an unfair deal, whereas this draft, the final draft, has been assessed, including by the Ukrainian side, as something that is more fair and more balanced than what had been floated in the past. So essentially, the deal is going to establish a joint investment fund with equal U.S. and Ukrainian ownership and on developing Ukraine's rare earth minerals, which, just for your viewers, these are essential for electric vehicle batteries, various consumer and military technologies, as well as oil and gas projects. So this is a big deal. Now, the deal is limited to the new mineral resources projects, by the way, and this is designed not to interfere with Ukraine's EU relationships or membership negotiations, which is very important for Kyiv. And this is something that they were trying to get. And it's also important to underscore that the U.S. is actually shifting away from tying such economic agreements to repayment for past assistance, which, as you recall, Brittany, you and I talked about this, I believe, not long ago. And this suggests a more sort of an improved framework for future U.S.-Ukraine relations going forward beyond just this deal. So it is a big deal, but by the same token, what the deal does not do is that it does not resolve the fundamental differences between Ukrainian and Russian perspectives on Ukraine's future. And as I said earlier, there will still continue to be a great deal of mistrust between them. And I'm very interested to see what the Kremlin has to say officially about this deal. So far, as of right now, as of Thursday afternoon, I have not seen any statements coming out of Moscow. It is quite late in Moscow at the moment. I think they're still very much digesting all of this. But at the end of the day, this deal and securing U.S. involvement going forward is going to be a positive development for Kyiv and more broadly for Ukraine's defense efforts. I did read actually one of the opposition MPs in Ukraine who said earlier that, we weren't choosing between good and bad. We were choosing between bad and worse. And I do think that compared to what was floated earlier, this is a much better deal for Ukraine. And I do think it's a good deal for the United States because, let's face it, pragmatically speaking, the U.S. gets quite a lot out of it.
I want to talk about